There are not sufficient opportunities for those of us who are scholars and practitioners and thought leaders in this really important environment to come together to have these kinds of conversations. So what we plan to do at the Annenberg School for Communication is to consult with all of you in the room to find ways that we can enhance this kind of conversation so you can be better practitioners and we can be better scholars and teachers.
We're talking tonight about whether this is a time of opportunity or more a time of problems, but I must say that I love the concept that a crisis is a terrible thing to waste. And I can't think of people better prepared to deal with a crisis than the people in this room.
We are living in a world in which consumers are uniquely, as never before, empowered to act in concert against a company, where information, and more to the point, misinformation, can spread from one continent to another almost instantaneously. We are living in a world in which the transparency that some of us in the public relations business have been talking about for 15 or 20 years is now an absolute reality. Organizations are subject to greater scrutiny, greater interaction, greater pressure than they've ever had to deal with in the past. And this is fundamentally changing the way organizations have to do business. The good news is, it's changing it in a way that makes public relations more important than it's ever been.
I think a lot of the opportunity revolves around the stimulus plans that are being developed around the world. And we have an International Advisory Council. We have people from all over the world on this, and I do a monthly call. So the last call was about the stimulus program, and I had the Indians arguing with the Chinese and the US and the Germans, and we had a very interesting discussion. And one of the things that we're finding is that some of the stimulus program, not the US stimulus program, although that could be, will have unintended consequences. The China stimulus program right now is putting a lot of money into the hands of Chinese businesses versus the other businesses in that market. Those businesses will end up being a lot more competitive in a down market. And it will force some people that have the technology and have other things that are important in that market out of the market. I'm not sure that's what's intended, but the reason that's relevant to what we're saying is I think that the role that we have as communicators is to work with those companies to help them push back, to make sure that they're articulating clearly the consequences of their action during this kind of a time, so that governments can make the right decisions. There's a whole different partnership now between business and government. And if we don't play a role in helping to shape that, then that's going to be imbalanced, and it could lead to consequences that we don't anticipate.
So, in the short term, sort of here's my observations from a recruitment firm point of view. If you have a job, keep it. Even if you hate your job. Unless you're financially independent, adopt a Zen attitude and figure out how to coexist with your lousy job. If you're looking for a job, don't be picky. I've had people in my office say, I'm worried that it's not going to look right on my resume, and don't worry about that. Get something that will pay the bill, that keeps income going in, that keeps you engaged, and when the market picks up, and it will, there will be lots of opportunity out there and no one will hold it against you. So now's not the time to start bickering. Third, one of the bright spots is there is freelance work out there. This is a classic corporate move. We downsize, we eliminate the jobs, but then the work has to get done. And most of the companies I've worked for actually hire the people they just laid off on a contract basis.
You're supposed to do that.
So if there's freelance work out there, take it. You know, A, it keeps income coming in, B, it keeps you out in the marketplace, and C, it usually leads to full-time work. When the market returns, you're engaged already in the corporation. And finally, I say this in good times and bad, which is network like crazy. It is the way people get jobs. More so than hiring Korn Ferry, you're more likely to get a job through friends and people that you met and the informal network you have.
Well, I think one of the things you have to do right away, anybody who's in school right now, if you don't have internships or some volunteer, go to nonprofits. They're going to be hurting a lot. I also have philanthropy as my responsibility, and I think they're going to be hurting a lot. Keep that experience. Like Don was saying, I thought he gave good advice about not being picky. Keep yourself connected to your profession, whether you're doing it through an internship, paid, unpaid. Keep doing that so that when you come out, that you have things that you can show and you have experience. I really look at those. I mean, entry-level jobs are going to be hard, but make sure you're making yourself as marketable and as competitive as you possibly can do in this environment.